He locked the bedroom door on his wedding night, expecting to hold his beautiful bride, but when she took off her anklet, the dying screams of her last 100 husbands rushed into his mind. He was not her groom. He was her next meal. In the quiet, music, and beautiful village of Bama, there lived a woman named Neka. She was the most beautiful woman anyone had ever seen. Her skin was as smooth as polished, music brown wood, and her eyes sparkled like stars in the night sky. She always wore a bright smile that made everyone feel happy, but there was one music thing about Neka that was very strange. She never, ever took off a heavy brass anklet, music on her left foot. It was thick, old, and covered in strange marks. Neka told everyone it was a gift from her great-grandmother, a piece of her family history, music that she must always wear. A young man named Toby lived in the same village. Music. Toby was kind, strong, and had a heart full of love. He was a farmer who grew the biggest music yams in Bama. From the moment Toby saw Neka, he knew he wanted to marry her. Music, he brought her sweet fruits and sang her happy songs. Neka liked Toby very much. They spent many days walking by the calm river, talking about their future. But sometimes, when Toby looked at the old brass anklet, he felt a sudden cold wind blow past him. It made him shiver. He did not know why, but the music anklet felt heavy with a dark secret. He ignored the feeling because his love for Neka was so big and music warm. He asked Neka to be his wife, and she said yes with a beautiful laugh. The whole village of Bama was so excited for the big wedding. Everyone started making colorful clothes and cooking delicious food. Toby spent his days building a new house for them. Music. It had strong mud walls and a roof made of fresh palm leaves. Every time he added a new piece of wood, he imagined Neka living there with him. He wanted everything to be perfect. The village children would run around him, singing songs about the handsome farmer and music, his beautiful bride. Toby would laugh and give them sweet treats. He felt like the luckiest man in the whole wide world. Yet, late at night, when the village was asleep, music, Toby would sometimes have strange dreams. He dreamed of men he did not know crying out in the dark. He did not understand the dreams, so he just woke up, drank some water, and went back to sleep, waiting for his wedding day. As the wedding day came closer, the village market was loud and dizzy. People were buying yams, beads, and colorful cloth. Toby was at the market buying a special necklace for Neka. While he was paying, he heard some old women whispering behind a pile of baskets. Music. One of them was Mama Zola, the oldest and wisest woman in Bama. She had white hair and eyes that seemed music to see everything. Mama Zola was talking about Neka. Toby stopped music and listened carefully. She does not change, Mama Zola whispered to the other women. I have lived in this village for a very long time. I remember when I was a little girl, music. My own grandmother told a story about a beautiful woman with a heavy brass anklet. It cannot be the same woman, music, but it is very strange. Toby felt a cold chill run down his back. He stepped forward and asked Mama Zola what she meant. Music, the old woman jumped, surprised to see him. Mama Zola looked deeply into Toby's eyes. She did not smile. Toby, she said in a low music voice, you are a good boy, but the woman you are marrying has a shadow that is music, too old for her face. Be careful. Not everything that looks beautiful on the outside is music good on the inside. Toby felt angry. He loved Neka and did not want to hear bad things about music, her. She is just a normal woman, Toby said loudly. She is kind and she loves me. You are just telling silly music old stories. He grabbed the necklace and walked away fast. He did not look back, but as he walked home, Mama Zola's words stayed in his head like a buzzing bee. What did she mean by a shadow that is too old? Toby tried to shake the thought away. He told himself that old people just like to gossip and make up scary tales. Neka was sweet and gentle. She would never hurt anyone. Still, the feeling of fear would not completely leave his heart. He decided he would ask Neka about the anklet one more time before they got married. That evening, music, Toby went to visit Neka. The sun was going down, painting the sky in bright colors of orange and pink. Neka was sitting outside her small music house, singing a very old song. It was a beautiful song, but the words were in a language Toby did not understand. When she saw a music hymn, she stopped singing and smiled her bright, flawless smile. Toby sat next to her and gave her the beautiful beaded necklace he bought at the market. Neka was very happy. She put it around her neck and thanked music hymn. But Toby's mind was still on Mama Zola's words. He looked down at the heavy brass anklet, music on her foot. Neka, Toby said softly, can you tell me more about that anklet? It looks so heavy. Does it not hurt your foot? Music, Neka's smile faded just a little bit. Her eyes looked away, staring into the dark trees. I told you, my love, she said quietly. Music, it is a promise to my family. As long as I wear it, I am safe. I can never take it off. Toby wanted to ask more, but Neka quickly changed the subject. She stood up and said she needed to show him something inside. Toby followed her into her room. In the corner, he saw a dark wooden box. Music. It had a big iron lock on it. He had never seen it before. What is in that music box? He asked. Neka stood in front of the box, hiding it from his view. Just old things. Music, she said quickly. Old clothes and broken toys. She seemed nervous. Toby felt his heart beat faster. Why was she hiding a box of old clothes? It did not make sense. He wanted to open the box and see for himself music, but he did not want to make Neka mad. He promised himself that he would trust her. He loved her, and love meant trusting each music other. But as he walked home that night, the moon felt cold and the shadows looked longer. The secret of the anklet and the locked box made Toby feel like he was walking on very thin ice over a deep, dark river. The night before the wedding, the whole village had a big party. There was loud drum music, singing, and lots of dancing. Toby danced until his feet hurt. He felt so much joy. Music. Everyone was clapping and cheering for the happy couple. Neka looked like a beautiful queen in her bright red and gold dress. Music. The heavy brass anklet peeked out from under her dress every time she stepped. But Toby noticed something strange during music, the party. While everyone was laughing, he saw Neka standing near the edge of the forest. Music. She was looking up at the full white moon. Her face did not look happy. She looked very sad and very tired. Toby quietly walked up behind her to see if she was okay. Before he could speak, he heard her whisper to the moon. Music, just one more, she whispered softly. Please, let this be the last one. Music, I am so tired. Toby stopped in his tracks. He hid behind a large tree, so she could not see him. What did she mean by one more? Why was she tired? Music. Toby's mind raced with worry. He remembered the strange dreams he had been having. Music. The dreams about men crying in the dark. He remembered Mama Zola's warning at the market. Music. Suddenly, a cold wind blew through the trees, making the leaves rustle loudly. Music. Neka turned around quickly, but Toby stayed hidden. She sighed and walked back to the party, putting her bright, flawless smile back on her face. Toby stood alone in the dark for a long time. Music. His hands were shaking. He loved Neka with all his heart, but he knew she was hiding a giant secret. He wanted to run to her and ask her to tell the truth, but he was too afraid of what the truth might be. Music. He went back to the party and pretended everything was fine. He smiled and laughed, but inside his stomach was tied in tight knots. The feeling of suspense grew bigger and bigger, like a storm cloud ready to burst open. He knew tomorrow night would change his life forever. Music. The morning of the wedding was bright and sunny. The village of Bama looked beautiful. There were colorful flowers everywhere, and the smell of roasting meat filled the air. Toby wore a handsome green outfit made of rich woven cloth. He looked like a strong king. As he walked music to the center of the village, everyone cheered. Then Neka walked out of her house. The crowd music went completely quiet because she was so stunning. She wore a dress made of white and gold, and her skin glowed in the sunlight. But as she walked down the dirt, music path toward Toby, something very strange happened. The village dogs, who were usually very friendly and playful, started to cry. They backed away from Neka, hiding under carts and howling at the sky. Toby felt music a chill in his bones. Dogs always knew when something was wrong. Why were they music so scared of his beautiful bride? Toby looked at Mama Zola in the crowd. The old woman was shaking her head slowly, looking very sad. Toby tried to ignore the dogs. Music, he took Neka's hand. Her hand was as cold as ice, even though it was a very hot day. Music, they stood before the village chief, who said special words to bless their marriage. They promised to love each other forever. Music, the village clapped and shouted with joy. The drums started beating loudly again. They were music finally husband and wife. The rest of the day was filled with eating, dancing, and happy tears. Music, Toby looked at his new wife and felt a rush of love. He decided to forget all the strange things. He, Music, forgot the dogs, he forgot the whispered words, and he forgot the heavy brass anklet. He just wanted to be happy. As the sun went down and the stars' music came out, the party slowly ended. It was time for the new husband and wife to go to their new home. Toby felt excited, music, but deep down in his mind, a tiny voice was screaming at him to run away as fast as music he could. Toby and Neka walked hand in hand to their new home at the edge of the village. Music. The night was very quiet. The only sound was the heavy clinking noise of Neka's brass anklet, music, hitting the floor as she walked. When they got inside, Toby lit a small oil lamp. The room filled with a soft, warm, yellow light. Toby felt a little bit nervous, but very happy. Music. He was finally alone with his beautiful wife. He walked over to the thick wooden door, and Music pushed it shut. He slid the heavy iron bolt across, locking Music the door firmly. The loud sound of the lock echoed in the small room. Suddenly, the warm feeling in the room vanished. The air became freezing cold, like the middle of a bad storm. Toby turned around to look at Neka. She was standing in the middle of the room, completely music still. She was not smiling anymore. Her eyes looked dark and full of deep sorrow. Toby felt a knot form in his stomach. "Neka, are you okay?" he asked softly. He walked toward her, but she took a step back. The heavy anklet made a loud scraping sound on the floor. "Toby," she whispered. Her voice sounded different. Music, it sounded old and rough, like dry leaves blowing in the wind. "You locked the door." "Music, you should not have locked the door." Toby was confused. "I locked it so we can be alone, my love. This is our home now." Neka shook her head. Tears filled her bright eyes, but they did not fall. "You do not understand." "Music, as long as the door is open, the magic sleeps. When the door is locked on the wedding night, the toll must be paid." "Music." Toby did not understand her strange words. He felt a wave of fear wash over him. The suspense in the room was so thick, he could barely breathe. "Music." He wanted to unlock the door, but his legs would not move. He was trapped in a room with the woman he loved and the dark, music secret she had hidden for so long. Toby tried to stay calm. He forced Music a small smile and reached out his hand. "Neka, please. You're just Music, tired from the big party.
Come, sit down.
Let me help you take off that heavy anklet." "Music, you must want to rest your foot." Neka looked down at the brass music ring around her ankle. She slowly shook her head. "I cannot. Music, if I take it off, everything ends." Toby was tired of the mystery. He wanted his normal, happy wife back. He wanted the fear to go away. "Neka, Music, I am your husband now. I command you to take it off. It is hurting you. Please trust me." Neka looked at him with a face full of complete pity. It was the look a person gives to a trapped animal right before the end. "I do trust you, Toby. That is why I am so sorry." She slowly bent down. Her hands, which were always so smooth and warm, were shaking wildly. She reached for a hidden lock on Music, the inside of the thick brass anklet. It was a lock no one else had ever seen. With a loud snapping sound, Music, the heavy metal broke open. The brass hissed like an angry snake. Neka pulled the heavy anklet apart and let it fall. It hit the wooden floor with a huge booming crash that shook the entire house. The oil lamp went out right away, throwing the room into total darkness. Music, Toby gasped. The air in the room suddenly smelled like old dust, music, and dried earth. He heard a strange rushing sound, like a massive river breaking through a wall. The room grew colder, and Toby felt an invisible hand grab his chest. His heart pounded wildly. He could not see Nneka anymore, but he could hear her crying in the dark. The sound of her crying was mixed with 100 other voices, voices of grown men weeping in pure terror. Toby tried to yell, but no sound came out of his mouth. The secret was finally free, and music was coming straight for him. In the pitch-black room, a bright, glowing green light suddenly burst from the brass anklet on the floor. The light shot straight up and hit Toby right in the center of his forehead. Music. Instantly, Toby's eyes rolled back. His body went stiff. He was not in his new house anymore. His mind was pulled deep into a terrifying dream. It felt like he was falling through a tunnel of time. Suddenly, music. He was standing in a strange village he did not know. He saw Nneka. She looked exactly the same, perfectly beautiful. She was wearing a wedding dress. Music, but it was an old style from many years ago. She was holding hands with a strong, handsome man. Toby watched in horror as the dream, music, jumped forward to their wedding night. The door locked. The anklet came off. The man screamed as his life energy was sucked out of his body, turning him to dry bones in seconds. Music, the dream flashed again. Another village, another wedding, Nneka looking young and flawless. Another husband locking the door. Another man, music, turning to dust. Toby saw 50, 60, maybe 100 different men. Good men, kind men, strong music men. All of them loved her. All of them died on their wedding night. Toby felt every single memory pour into his own brain. He felt their love, their confusion, and their final, terrifying moment of pain. He felt 100 years of lies crashing down on his soul. The magic of the anklet was a hungry monster. Music, it needed the life of a strong, loving husband to keep Nneka young and beautiful. She was not 20 years old. She was over 100 years old, living on the stolen years of the men who loved her. Toby was meant to be her next meal. Music, his mind spun in dizzy circles as the endless screams of the past husbands echoed inside his head. He wanted to wake up from this nightmare, but he knew it was completely real. Toby gasped, music, for air as the green light faded. He was back in his dark room, sitting on his knees. He was shaking from head to toe. The room slowly filled with dim moonlight coming from a small window. By the pale light, he looked at Nneka. She was standing by the bed, crying quietly. "You saw them," she whispered. Her voice cracked with pain. "You saw what I really am." Toby could not speak. He crawled backward away from her until his back hit the cold, locked door. "Why?" He finally choked out. "Why did you do this to me? I loved you." Nneka fell to the floor, covering her face. "I did not want to. A long time ago, I was very sick. An evil spirit gave me the anklet to save my life. It promised me endless youth, but it tricked me. The anklet needed a human soul to keep working. If I do not give it a new husband on my wedding night, the anklet will eat my soul. Music instead. I just wanted to live, Toby. I am so scared of dying." Music. Toby looked at the heavy brass ring on the floor. It was glowing softly, waiting to feed on him. He felt a mix of strong music, anger, and deep, heartbreaking sadness. This beautiful woman he loved was really a prisoner to a terrible curse. Music. She had become a monster just to survive. "I heard you whisper to the moon," Toby said, his voice shaking. "You said, music, just one more." Nneka nodded slowly, her tears falling onto the wooden floor. "I wanted you to be the last one. I am so tired of the guilt. I am tired of the pain, but I am too weak to stop it. The anklet is awake now, Toby. It is hungry for your life. I am so sorry. There is nothing you can do. You have to die so, music, I can live." The cold air wrapped around Toby's neck like a tightrope. The magic was starting to pull his life away. Toby felt his strength leaving his body. His hands were becoming pale and thin. He remembered the faces of all the men who had died before him. They had all given up. They had all let the magic win. But Toby remembered something else. He remembered the strong woven necklace he had given to Neka at the market. Music. He remembered his pure, honest love. Love is stronger than fear. Love is stronger than dark magic. Toby forced his weak body to stand up. He did not run away. Instead, he walked right toward the glowing brass anklet on the floor. Neka gasped, "No, Toby. Stay away from it. It will turn you to ash." Toby ignored her. He reached deep inside his heart and pulled out all the courage he had. He lifted his heavy farming boot, the boot he used to crush hard rocks in the music fields. With a loud, powerful shout, Toby stomped down on the cursed brass anklet with all his mighty strength. A massive explosion of white light filled the music room. The sound was like a giant thunderclap. The brass rings shattered into tiny pieces. Instantly, 100 glowing lights shot out of the broken metal. They were the trapped souls of the past husbands. They swirled around the room, finally free, and vanished into the night sky. The terrible coldness was gone. Music. Toby fell to the floor, breathing heavily, but he was alive. He looked up. Neka was standing there, but she was changing quickly. Without the magic, music, time caught up with her all at once. Her smooth skin wrinkled, her dark hair turned snow white. Music, and she fell to her knees. She looked at Toby with a peaceful, thankful smile. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice like old paper. "Music, I am finally free to rest." Right before his eyes, the old bride turned into soft white dust. Music, blowing away in the gentle breeze coming from the window. Toby unlocked the door and Music walked out into the cool, fresh night air. He was heartbroken, but he was alive. Music, and the secret was gone forever. Not all monsters hide in the dark. Some hide behind a perfect smile. Music, breaking a deadly cycle, takes the courage to destroy what you desire. Could you survive a night with Neka? Music. Drop your answer in the comments. Like and subscribe, Music, and turn on notifications if you dare.